Hello, how are you doing, Adam?
Well, Ross, what's the crack? How are you, man?
I'm all right. I'm knackered after that this morning. Oh,
You're some man, up and at them. The early bird gets a worm, isn't that right?
yeah. Well, I'm 62 minutes now. I'm 17 minutes slower than John Fury for his 10 kilometers.
I was gonna say you have miles to make up. Get at it, Chief.
I'm 160 pound kid, so he's some man, isn't he? A 300 pound man doing that in 45 minutes. He's like Superman, isn't he?
Oh, he's got the lungs like do you remember Lance Armstrong used to be on the bicycle? He's got lungs like him, doesn't he? Apparently.
If I can get it under an hour in the next couple of weeks, I'll be happy with that. But I don't think I'll get near 45 minutes. That's a good club running time, that I've been told.
Yeah, it's very good, mate. Like you said, small goals, get under 60 and then get to 55 and so
Oh,
on and so
I'd never
forth.
do. I'd never do that, mate. If your lungs are burning up, man, honestly, I've tried. I've tried really, really hard. I've tried all sorts of different things. Running with like one of them boost shakes, like you get up at counter,
Hmm.
like Dylan White reckons. And I tried it on an empty stomach. I think it's better on an empty stomach in the morning. But no, I couldn't. I'm going to try it with an espresso in the morning, but that'd be hard to break an hour. But 45 minutes, John's an Iron Man.
Oh, he's a weapon. Fair play to him, hey.
That is some weapon, all right. Uh, did you see that? What I've just sent you? I've managed to. I forgot the gentleman's name who sent it me. Although Scott sent it me on WhatsApp, but somebody sent it me on email, and I get that many emails. I'm not bragging. I do get a lot of emails. Somebody sent me it. I finally got around to watching it. The young kid with red hair. He
Yeah.
basically tiptoed around it, but he were brave enough to ask John Fury the question, wasn't he?
Hmm.
And he's asked a question that nobody else, none of these YouTubers with access will ask him. And he asked him basically about his bare knuckle days and what it were like. And you've just seen John Fury's reply, haven't you?
Yeah. It's I actually saw that pop up, when it was released. I only watched wee bits of it here and there.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that comment that you can see it in the video says it all. How do you know when he's lying? His lips are moving, you know? That's all you need to know, really.
But what happened is, I'll tell you a little story. I know somebody who put it on him at one of them, an evening with John Fury's, and he was stood in front of Billboard. You know the part where you get your photo took and it's a tenner a picture.
Right.
So he's having his photo took, and this guy put it on him, and John said, "Oh, I don't need to talk about that. Be on your way, moving on here. There's people need the photos took," and they ushered him away. And that's what he did to that kid there. But because he had a camera pointing at him, it looked uncomfortable for John. But what is he afraid of? Because he'll go on about it any other day, but once he's asked in a serious interview, he shuts it down. Bit like you, innit, Joe Egan, with your fantasies. Has anybody seen John H. Stracey's Facebook? Now, John H. Stracey was a WBC world champion. I've actually met him and his wife, lovely people. I met him
Right.
at Mexpert, an ex-boxers do. And John H. Stracey was at the WBC convention. And he had a chat with Mike Tyson. And naughty, naughty, naughty Joe Egan. Mike Tyson said he can't remember sparring you or ever telling you that you're the baddest white man he's ever sparred or you're toughest white man he knows. He can't remember ever saying that. You putting words in people's mouth, Joe. As regards Hollywood actor, what Hollywood films have you been in and what studio did you work at? Because these people, they spin these narratives and they come back to bite them in arse, don't they, years and years later?
Yeah, oh, big time, mate. It was you were saying there, which studio? Maybe Whopper Productions, maybe. Who
What
who knows?
productions, eh?
At this
Unbelievable.
point, he's well in the trenches.
I can't believe only film he'd be in is Star Wars. He'd be some weirdo, wouldn't he? Sat in a pub or something, Return at Jedi. As an
And what
ex,
about he? Oh, too right. He could replace Jim Carrey in Liar Liar as well, maybe. Who knows?
oh my God, mate. Listen, we're surrounded by them, aren't we? This is why people are turning off the sport. Let's talk about some boxing anyway now. Mungia Rider, what did you think of it, Adam?
Good fight to watch. Obviously, very, very easy to score. Munguia was kind of in control for, all but one round. I gave one round to Ryder. Um, or actually maybe two, maybe six and seven. But like I said, Munguia kind of had control. He just didn't have the output, Ryder. I mean, when you look at the stats before the fight, they were saying on average Munguia was going to throw, an extra 20 odd punches around. Ryder had wee moments, but he never built on any of it, in my opinion. Like he kept Munguia honest a couple of times, but he didn't build on it. But like you and I were talking about before the fight, I think that Canelo scrap took a lot out of him. Like I know he got to the final bell and he did well to do so after getting his nose smashed in the third round, but he didn't look as tough and durable last night. Munguia is decent. I think he's obviously, I don't think he'll ever be near that pound for pound discussion or but he's rarely in a bad fight. Fun fighter to watch. He's got a nice jab. And yeah, very worthy winner. I'd say that's it for Ryder. I mean, again, we're in no position to tell boys to retire, but it just didn't look like he took a shot as well. And I thought the ref could have stopped it. The second time he got dropped in the ninth, they kind of had a zoom in of his eyes when he got up, and he just didn't look at it. And then sure they had to ring the bell because the ref didn't see they were waving the towel and stuff. But yeah, good fight, man. Good to watch. Like I said, Munguia's rarely in a bad one. What do you think yourself?
Well, I want to know how John Ryder were ranked so high at super middleweight. It shows you that the division now is pony, in it, basically, absolute pony. As regards John Ryder, 32-7. Next, if he fights again, he'll be 36 years old. He's 32-7. He's been iced twice. I look at his record. He's not got an area. He's not got an English, a British, a Commonwealth, a European, or a world title. He's not won a belt out of any of them 6 levels. Neither has Crusher Ben. But John Ryder seems to get. Nobody seems to pull him up on this. Or, I don't know if it's because he goes on boxing asylum or what. I don't know. And he's a friend of the hardcores. I don't care. We've got a man here, multi-millionaire. He's a serial loser. Now, if for anybody else, they'd all be savaging him, wouldn't they? So why is he getting all these chances? Is it because he's managed by Tony Sims and Charlie Sims, and Tony Sims trains him? But then again, Conor Ben, he's not got an area in English, British, Commonwealth, European, or a world, and he's managed by Charlie Sims and trained by Tony Sims. So are these lot just getting all the opportunities? Is it jobs for the boys? Because he went to the well last night, and after round 4, there was nothing in the well. How much longer are we going to see these kids getting beaten up? And is this what's going to be happening with Crusher Ben? Is he going to be fed to wolves now? Because Ryder, to me, he's a shot fighter.
Yeah, I mean, the similarities in camp and representation and affiliation, I don't think that has nothing to do with it. But like I kind of said, I think you'd be very surprised if he got any sort of opportunity similar to last night again. Just like you said, it didn't look like he had much in the tank at all after a couple of rounds. But I don't know. I mean, I think I would agree with the sentiment very much so that young Ben's going to get fed to the wolves soon.
Yeah,
big time, man. And like anytime you listen to Hills at all, the Ben train has slowed down, and it's all about Boots Ennis now. That's all he's talking about. It's a first, and this obviously so it should be. I mean, Boots Ennis is, I mean, I don't think Ben could lace his boots, but it seems like he's a bit of an afterthought now. And obviously we joke about it, but it's not. I know he's fighting technically with an asterisk in Vegas now, tail end of next week, but it's not. It's not really a Vegas fight. It's stuck in the back room of a dodgy hotel, so it's not looking good for young Crusher, is it? But look, listen, like we always say, you get out what you put in. He's still pleading his innocence, but like, beating a dead horse.
Who's the MC on the night? Is it Elvis?
I'm not sure. Probably an Elvis impersonator, all right. And he'd probably have a better hairdo than Hills, even at an impersonator. We'll see. But
the Matchroom Mafia are out in force online, and they're talking Saunders against Ryder 2, The Last Dance.
I mean, pardon me. I think I think it'd be a nice matchup for both men. I think Billy Joe needs a soft one coming back in. And like I said, I don't think Ryder throws enough output to get Billy Joe in trouble. I know he's going to be ring rusty, and I get all that, but I don't think he throws enough, and I don't think he builds on his work to get Billy Joe into trouble. And then also, John Ryder is not going to take a hiding from Billy Joe. You know, he might get his ears boxed off, but he's not going to. I would doubt he's going to get knocked down like he did in the ninth last night against Billy Joe, especially coming back after a big layoff. So if you're looking at it with your Hills hat on, it's probably a good fight to make. You can kill two birds with one stone. But from the fan perspective, do I want to see it? Not one bit. Not a bit, mate.
No, I don't really want to see it either. I think John Ryder should thank his lucky stars. He's a millionaire. He's financially secure, and he
Yep.
never won a belt. He's in the bracket like Dave Allen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, happy. Obviously, when you're in the blender, it's kind of hard to appreciate what's going on around you and stuff. But like you said, I mean, if he's honest with himself and he takes a step back, and let's say he did retire hypothetically, he takes a step back in a couple of years, he's done very well for himself. You know, similar to the Smiths.
Very well. Like
Very
I said,
well.
nobody's pulling him up on it. He's a nice guy. He's all right, John Ryder. He's a serial loser. Getting
Mm,
opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. 7 losses, and they're still talking about one final payday with Saunders. It's madness.
mm.
What is he gonna be? The Derek Chisora of the super middleweight division? It's pish. Absolute pish. Take it Mickey out. Boxing fans, where's this next generation of fighters? Are they gonna keep digging John Ryder up?
Yeah, it is per. It is per, but it kind of goes back to, you know, we've talked previously about the likes of Joe Parker and Luis Ortiz being blockers and shields for AJ. If you look at Hearn, any division where he has like a vested interest, he always tries to have a blocker, you know what I mean? Or a shield. Um, Obviously the Ryder Canelo fight was easy to make for him, you know, because he was in on both camps. So I think Hills will try and kind of roll him out like that moving forward. Like you said, a wee bit like the Del Boy of super middleweight. But you know, he's gonna show up, he's gonna be tough, he's not gonna throw that much damage. You know, he punches okay, but he's not gonna destroy your fighters, you know, like when Hearns put in Gary Cully against your man, I can't think of his name now, the wee Hispanic fella that sparked him. I don't think you're going to get that same sort of viciousness out of Ryder, you know. So I think he's a decent shield for Hearn to have in his back pocket. But like you said, if I were Ryder, I would step away. I think it's a good time. And like I said last night, he you know, it didn't look like he was taking the shot that well by the end up. So hopefully he packs it in and he can reflect on a, you know, like you said, a career where he's massively overachieved.
Well, financially, but he's got no legacy.
Yeah, no, I know. But listen, would you rather have no legacy and no money, or no legacy and a bag of money? You know, it's
Mm. Well, that's the mentality
again.
now, isn't it? None of them want to be the best. I mean, he's got 254 rounds on his record here, and he's been knocked about, hasn't he?
At the top level, yeah. I mean, it's impossible to dispute it. I mean, I didn't see that Blackwell fight back in the day. Apparently, it was a bad stoppage, but again, sure, that's 9 years ago. But you know, at the elite level over the last couple of years,
Elite level, he shouldn't even be in the same ring as some of these people he's fighting, in my opinion. He's a
no.
British level guy with no British title.
Yeah, it's wild too. Like you said, hey, him and Ben, they got an awful easy road of it, really, when you look at it. No domestic titles whatsoever.
None.
And one of them's rolling around in a Rolls Royce, crying into his milk. It's not a bad life, is it, buddy?
They've had it off, haven't they? That Essex lot. They look after their own down there, don't they?
Yeah. But
Uh, David Hayes piped up the haymaker. He's saying Derek Chisora is reinvigorated after his rest, and he's back, and he's advising him and blah de blah.
yeah, see him sort of predicament. You know, obviously over the years we've got plenty of value out of Del Boy, obviously on the mic, you know, press conferences, in the ring as well. You know, he's been in decent fights, but he doesn't strike me as a man that's I don't know. I think somebody's gonna have to retire him. In terms of, I think it's gonna take him getting viciously knocked out from the stop. You know, you would think after getting the bag against Fury in the third fight. I mean, if there's not a better time to walk away than that for him, I don't know when it'll come. But listen, he's a grown man. If he wants to get in there, it's his prerogative, it's his choice. Yeah, I'm not going to be massively tuning in. I don't think it's good for him, you know. And again, it's all well and good now getting a paycheck and staying in the limelight and stuff, but let's fast forward 10 or 15 years when his hands start to shake and his memory starts to go, and then his family have to deal with it. It won't be all fun and games in Del Boy then. But again, you won't have any of the leeches around when it gets to that point, will you, bud?
No. I feel so for Derek Chisora, but like, I mean, he's had 324 rounds. He's had like 70 rounds more than John Ryder, and he's 41 this year, Del Boy.
And not many of them rounds have been soft. You know, it's not like he's on his
Oh
back
God,
foot
and heavyweight,
dancing around.
well, isn't it? Heavyweight's flopping him as well.
That's what I mean. He's in the blender constantly. They're tough rounds, tough work, tough miles on the clock. So, like I said, I like him as a character. I think I always will, unless he does a massive U-turn. I would like to see him pack it up and, you know, get some sort of, you know, ambassadorial role, punditry role and stuff. I thought it was mad, you know, that he didn't get on that big day of reckoning in Saudi, Bill. I thought it was mad he was overlooked because, you know, he's been out there and he's been, you know, he was doing the media for the. Let's go ahead, mate.
He's been beating the drum out there for boxing, hasn't he?
He really has. I thought he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet, you know. Like for example, why, and again, I know it's old news now, but why was Mark Demori on the card and Del Boy wasn't? It's mad enough when you look at it on paper, isn't it, man? Like it would
Yeah,
have made like Hrgovic, but Chisora obviously would have been a much better fight than Demori, even with hindsight, but maybe there's something going on that we don't know about.
what would you say is Del Boy's best win, David Price?
Um Probably. I mean, people were talking about Pulev there a couple of years ago, but like Pulev was on the, you know, well on the way in. I know you could make the same argument for Chisora. Yeah, probably. Um, Probably Price, really. Yeah. Or again, you could say Pulev, but he was well long in the tooth, so probably Price.
Okay, here's a subject that I know you're dying to talk about. David Benavidez.
Oh,
Is he being swerved by Canelo?
swerved is too light a word. Listen, obviously Canelo's got an unbelievable career. Am I going to sit here and say like he's a poor fighter, he's a crap fighter, or anything like that? Absolutely not. You know, the man, he's got longevity, he's got consistency, but in my opinion, he's holding the super middleweight division up. You know, if you look at it, and again, this isn't me, it sounds like I'm a Canelo hater, but if you look at the eras he's been in, obviously he came in as a young man and he fought Floyd, and everyone makes the excuse for him that, you know, it was too early and all this. But Mayweather flogged him from pillar to post. I know he didn't beat him up, but he completely outclassed him. Again, young Mayweather, whatever. And even at that, he still got one dodgy scorecard to draw. You know, I don't know how it was scored, but whatever. So in that era, obviously Mayweather is the dawn. Then you move on as he's moving up the weights and you move into the Triple G territory. In my opinion, he waited Triple G out. He could have got it on very quickly after the Amir Khan knockout. It was set up well. The two boys were on their peak. He didn't do that. The first time he fought Golovkin, I had him losing by 8 rounds to 4. Obviously, he got the dodgy scorecards. Second fight was very close. The point I'm making is like, I love the category you use. What are the 3 best ones? There's another way I like looking at fights, mate. Who were the 3 toughest fights, and how did they get on? So let's look at Mayweather. In no particular order, Floyd Mayweather. How did he get on? You know what I mean? He got completely outclassed. Fair enough. Floyd might be one of the best ever, but All that being said, he still got flogged. One of the second toughest fights, Golovkin won. Same thing. I thought he lost comprehensively. He got bailed out by the judges. Whatever. Then you could say Bivol's maybe his third toughest fight ever. Same thing. Got completely outclassed. It wasn't even that Bivol beat him up, but he got outclassed. And that Bivol fight was scored 115, 113 on 3 cards. Bivol won the 12th round. Now, let's say Canelo comes out in the 12th and just throws caution to the wind and goes for it and wins the 12th. That fight would have been a draw on 3 scorecards, which to me is just absolute madness. Again, Canelo's very good, but he's been bailed out as the cash cow one time after another. And now he's just waiting Benavidez out, in my opinion. Like, if he doesn't fight him by the end of this year, I'll put David Benavidez as a number 1 at super middleweight. I already kind of have him there, but again, he hasn't beaten Canelo, so it's kind of a thing. Anyway, rant over. But for Canelo to cement his legacy, I'll finish with that. I think he's got to beat Benavidez, and I don't mean beat him on a dodgy scorecard. I mean dominate him. Not knock him out, but I mean outclass him. Do what Mayweather did to him. If he can't do that, you can't say he's the best of this era. But again, rant over. What do you think, bud?
I think Benavidez has been swerved by Canelo. I think Canelo picks his battles.
He does. He really, really does.
Yeah. Okay. But I just want to touch on this one before we go. Do you remember the 155-pound division, Adam? Canelo.
Aye.
I just wonder what your take on that, where we're making middleweights come down to 155.
Well, the same thing, picking and choosing, man. It comes in different forms. It might be waiting lads out. It might be, but again, it's the one thing I'll give him, and I know it's boxing's a dodgy game, but he's picked up a lot of tricks along the way. Like, do you remember what Mayweather used to do, where he would announce his fights while late? Like, do you remember the Maidana fight? I think he announced it 7 weeks out or something. But Floyd was so big that he didn't need the market for a long time. It was going to sell itself. But I think he was very cute in the sense when he did that, he would do it so he would throw off the other fighters, give them short notice, whatever. I think Canelo kind of did that to Mondo Smith. I think he would have flogged him regardless. But, from a business standpoint, Canelo's cute. I don't agree with it. Like you say, I don't think you should be boiling boys down. But again, it's just another part of the game. You talk about top Mexican fighters of all time, and even like what used to boil my water was when you looked at Canelo and he was pound for pound number 1, he was ahead of Terence Crawford. I didn't think there was anything to justify it. Like, don't get me wrong, the Caleb Plant one was very good. The Saunders one was good. Like, he looked good in the fight. But then a lot of his other fights, you have Yildirim, you have obviously Ryder and stuff. There's a lot of fluff in there. And you talk about the best Mexican fighters of all time. Like, you look at Chavez Sr., say what you want about him, but he fought De La Hoya twice, and there was a lot of needle. The boys were giving each other stick. Like, there's not that much needle between Benavidez and Canelo. At least that's the way it seems. So if he did lose to him, it wouldn't be pure embarrassment. Like, Chavez Jr. went in there the first time and then fought him again. Does anybody look at Chavez Jr. as weak or look at him negatively for fighting De La Hoya twice? If anything, I think it's made his record look better. So if Canelo wants to be known as, near the best Mexican fighter ever, he needs to put himself in the fire, next fight. Or again, September at the latest.
Okay. The Belfast show, did you watch it?
I saw highlights mostly. I watched the whole Clark McCarthy fight. And then I just saw highlights of Crocker Felix. Lovely finish, obviously. But I would like to see it set up pretty well, isn't it, for Crocker and Donovan to get it on, maybe, 2 undefeated fighters, both coming off nice wins. That'd be a good one to see. What do you think, man?
Thought it was shite, so I didn't watch it. I just looked at it and I said, all them on the left-hand side are going to win, all them on the right-hand side. And they did. There were 5 knockouts. The 2 that went to points were 4 and a 6 rounder. But here's a statistic for you. In Eddie Hill's career, 14 years nearly. It's the lowest box rec ranking home fighters and away. Home 255, away fighters average ranking for the full 7, 342. That's his lowest ever. So, point I'm asking is the talent pool now that's that bad?
Yeah. Short answer is yes. I mean, again, man, it's like politics or anything else. There's certain things that take a long time for it to show up in real life. You know what I mean? Like it takes like, years and years of bad decisions and people getting screwed over and stuff. I think the standard is down for sure. But again, it's more of the same. It's more, setting up these like who's gonna wanna like don't get I love going to live shows, but who's gonna wanna go to shows when, like you say, it's flog, flog, flog. There's no competitiveness really. I
Well,
think that
Mick Hennessy gets hammered for putting on shows like that. That's why they said Mick Hennessy couldn't have Sky dates, so they gave it Ben Shalom. But it's all the same. And when I was with Dennis, the ranking was not much worse than that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, and they used to hammer Dennis. Now, and look at the state of this. Look at the state
mm,
of that. Well, they've served up in Belfast. We're all pissed up, lapping it up, weren't they? But that show were absolutely pony because the people that know there they're just happy to be at a show, any show, aren't they? In Ireland, it's been that bad for years, hasn't it? But that served up from Mr. Hashtag Game Changed. What is all that about?
yeah, it is poor, but again, man, it's everything's way too top heavy. If you took some of the effort you're putting into the likes of Conor Benn, or at least the effort that you were putting into him, and put it into some small up and coming fighters, then you wouldn't have to put on these shows where most fights are a gimme unless it's a massive upset. It's just flogging from start to finish. But again, this is years and years and years of prioritizing the wrong guys, the wrong people getting dodgy decisions, and just people getting fed up with the sport, and that's fighters and that's fans alike. Um, he was playing to the gallery, like you said. People want to come out, people want to see local lads win, but I don't really think it's benefiting the sport that much. Like I said, if Crocker and Donovan's up next, then I can kind of get behind that, like just in the sense that it's two undefeated fighters, there's a bit of jeopardy, and it should actually be a decent domestic fight. But if you're just going to put on another card like this, forget it. There's not much point to it, mate. You're not really growing the sport. You're just keeping a small section of the fan base happy for a year, just to keep everybody quiet. That's my opinion.
Yeah, they're not pulling any trees up in Ireland, are they? Matchroom and DAZN.
No, not specifically. Like even I know Hills will get booed everywhere, but even those shows in Dublin, like he was getting more grief than ever. And even when he does try and set them up like that, like again, like Gary Cully, they were marketing him very well. Like even on like American podcasts and all this, they were getting Cully out there, but they put him in with a vicious puncher that straightened them out. And I think that'll affect his career going forward. I don't know if you saw that Cully fight live. That fight should have been stopped. Jesus, 2 minutes before it was stopped, maybe. Oh, it was horrible to watch. So even the point I'm making is even when Hearn's trying to set up a flog and he gets it wrong from time to time.
What, like when he set Froch up with Booty? But don't worry, Cole, you've got a 2-fight deal. They set him up for a good hiding, but you've got two
No,
fights at the Cherry.
he didn't know who he was dealing with, did he?
No, Froch were like, well, I've got 2 fights here at this. They were throwing him to guillotine, weren't they, against Booty? But it went pear-shaped for him, didn't it?
I think that's, obviously the Groves one sticks out because it's domestic, obviously a big fight. I that's probably my favorite one of him or Taylor. Just for all the reasons you're saying. They were trying to walk him to the gallows, going in against a big hitting southpaw, awkward. And Frost just made it look like a cakewalk. Very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Got everything on the line, didn't he? He were on weight for that fight for 10 days on weight, just itching and ready. They had to rein him in. He was that eager, just wanted to get it over and done with. Leave it all in the ring that night, mate. And obviously, he went on to have more fights, didn't he, after that? But he was going to leave it in the ring. And obviously he did, didn't he? He left Butte there, didn't he? Rendered unconscious.
Jeez, he gave him a tight doing, didn't he? Hey, in the end, it was nice to see.
Airs standing on your end, on your arms that night, mate. Pop, pop, bang. Kell Brook. Kell Brook. It's going to be Beefy or Ben or Eubank. He wants all of them. He just wants pain, though. What do you make of it? He'll be 38 when he fights. Do you think Kell should just walk away? Or, I mean, if he has this fight, yeah, but what happens down the line after that? I mean, we're going to be in the same situation when he's 40.
It's a hard one. It's kind of, there's no real fork in the road. Well, there shouldn't be after. I would rather see him stay retired. I've said that to you before, but again, it's not my decision or not my, thing to make. If he does come out, I would like to see him just have one. But again, this is a consequence of years of, decades of boxing just being, again, if this is what fans are clamoring for, which I know you and I aren't, but if this is what promoters are going to put on, you're going to bring boys out of retirement. It doesn't say much about the game, does it? I don't know. I would like to see him stay retired, but again, if he is going to come out and fight, I would like to see it be one and done. I would like to see it be against Chris Eubank Jr. just because there is Needle. Say what you want about him, love him or hate him. Eubank Jr. He always makes for a good build-up and a good press conference. So I think the two boys would make good partners, but I would rather see Brooke stay on the couch, if I'm being honest.
Okay. We'll finish off on this one then. What do you make of the they're calling it intense beef, but I heard Joe Gallagher called it cold turkey. What do you think to the cold turkey stroke intense beef on Joe G and Bombay Dave? What do you reckon to all
I can't buy him in, and you know who I'm rooting for. I mean, listen, there can only be one. There can only be one winner, and that beef or whatever it is, cold turkey. I like that one, but there's only going to be one winner based on experience, based on pedigree, based on resume, and just based on facts. I would rather not give it that much oxygen. I feel like the only way Mr. Bombay stays relevant is him trying to come in and swipe fighters. Oh, I could give this guy advice, and the only way he stays relevant is people talking about him because, again, like I say, resume-wise on paper, he's fine at stepping in and picking up boys once he's been fully trained and stuff. But Joe G will come out on top. There's no other way it can really go.
Okay, I just want to ask you this one. Do you know, like a trainer being a pundit on something like Sky, is that a conflict of interest if that's other fighters fighting and they're a pundit? Because we all know what goes on behind the scenes, don't we? You know what I mean? Kind of thing. It happened with Dylan White and Ebony Bridges and David Price, and Bombay Dave's got phone for it. So is Bombay Dave now employed by Sky as a pundit? Is he going to be looking for his next people he wants to train, or throwing spanners in works for? What do you think?
I mean, it's a tough one. If you knew what people's intentions were up front, it'd be a bit different. Like if you knew you were putting somebody honest behind the mic that we're going to say it how it is and not try and be a snake and swipe fighters and stuff, then that would be one thing. But if you're putting kind of untrustworthy, shady characters in there that are going to be pulling stuff behind the scenes, it's not good. It's like most things, small minority are going to ruin it for the rest of everybody. But I don't know, mate. I don't think the punditry pool overall is that strong. And then, like we've talked about previously, the lads that are very strong, the likes of Froch and these boys, they're not going to get gigs for a multitude of reasons.
What, an Hall of Famer not getting a gig at Sky no more? You couldn't make you couldn't make it up, could you?
Talking too much sense, man. And there's certain lads like we talked about. Roy Keane's incorruptible. Roy Keane's going to say what he wants to say. Same as Frochy, But I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Like I said, the pool of quality pundits is not that strong. But I wouldn't put I wouldn't put Mr. Caldwell in that top echelon anyway. Probably is a conflict, but again, it's like everything else. I don't think there's going to be any sort of solution anytime quick, man.
Is it a conflict of interest with his gym mate being a big noise at Sky, Horsecock?
Uh, I thought the boys weren't that pally at all per his
Well,
lawyer,
apparently,
no?
well, they are now, apparently, but 2 years ago, he categorically denied that he was a friend of Bombay Dave. Now, all of a sudden, they've slipped him in at Sky and everybody thinks it's all forgotten.
Yeah, probably is a conflict, but again, boys will keep smiles on their faces when they're on TV. They keep a job and they'll keep things civil. But yeah, you want to be careful. Big Johnny's not a man that I would like to mess with in front of the camera or behind it. He's packing some heat, you know, and
Johnny Nelson packing heat.
he was trying to sort it out with a left hand, nice and smooth the last day.
He's packing something, mate.
Oh, for sure. He's like Dirty Harry. He's got one hidden.
Got his Magnum 45.
Feeling lucky, punk, huh? That's what he should be saying to Caldwell, but who knows, man.
We'll finish off on this one then. What we got? 3 minutes left. Barry Hearn, not so long ago, what is it, 2.5 years? He was named in Epstein's book on BBC TV. He's just got his OBE. Isn't it funny how things change, you know, in life?
I didn't even know. Can you put some context on that? He was named in Epstein's list or what?
I'll send you a link. Barry Hearn were named in Epstein's book on BBC television, and now he's just been given an OBE. I just wonder what your thoughts were. I'll send you a link now.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it, but on the surface, mate, the doesn't make much sense, is it? You know, again, innocent, not proven guilty, but if you're on a list like that and there's any smoke to it, then you shouldn't be getting an OBE. You should be maybe going in the clinker instead. But what's right and what happens are rarely the same thing, Russ.
It must have been a mistake then in being named in book. What do you think? Must have been a mistake, but it's out there. BBC website.
The only thing about that is your man Epstein, he was a real greasy character and he was a real smart fucker as well. In the sense that, you know, he kept his black book and he kept records of who came. I don't think everybody associated with him was a complete sicko. And that's not me standing up for him or anybody else. They reckon he was blackmailing people and he would get somebody to bring somebody. So then he would say, oh, you were at my party and you can't prove you weren't doing this and stuff. So he would have them on the hook. So I don't know that everybody associated with Epstein is a complete horrible wronging.
Yeah.
But again, how are we going to know who is and who isn't? It's just good that a few of them at least got their comeuppance. But
yeah, it is. Yeah, to be honest with you, I look at it like this. Bazza were probably trying to get a few quid out of the job because that guy was a financial guy, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have thought being named in out like that, they'd have just left it a little bit longer before they start handing out OBEs, wouldn't you? That's just my take on it.
Oh, no, you're dead right, especially after they shelved. I don't know what that Andrew fella's doing now, but I know he's not wearing a royal uniform and he's not sweating apparently, so we'll let him at it. Greasy bastard.
Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Adam. I hope you're well over there in San Francisco.
You too, mate. And yeah, sure, we'll be in touch and we'll get chatting during the week next week or something. All right, man.
No problem. You can come on anytime you want, kid. You take care.
Top man, Ross. All right. Cheers, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Well, that were Adam from San Francisco. Women love him, men want to be him. What an addition to the commission. How's about that one? We need Jerry on now. Jerry, where are you? Are you in hiding? Jerry and Kent letting rest of Ireland down. Come on, step up to the plate. Pop, pop, bang. Big shout out to my mate, Buster Brunt. Keep them sessions coming in. Like I will be tomorrow. We'll try and beat John Fury's time or at least get under an hour. God, that man is Superman, isn't he? 10 kilometres in 45 minutes. Flat. He don't want to talk about it. Neither does he want to talk about his bare knuckle career on the Daily Star interview, eh? I don't know. Go on, peace out.